All right, let's just dive right into this explainer. Today, we're going to completely demystify how the world's most famous AI actually works. And we're going to do this entirely in plain English, absolutely zero confusing tech jargon, I promise. Because, let's be honest, if you've ever opened up ChatGPT and thought, okay, what exactly is happening behind the scenes here? Or why does it sometimes give me these brilliant answers and other times just completely miss the mark? Well, you are in the exact right place. We're going to break the whole thing down.
Now, to help us out on this journey, I want to introduce you to our friendly guide, Prompt Eagle. Look, artificial intelligence can feel incredibly intimidating, especially for beginners. It's so often portrayed as this magical, all-knowing entity straight out of a sci-fi movie. But it's really not magic at all. It's a tool, and just like any tool, once you actually understand how it works, you can master it. So Prompt Eagle is here to help us kind of normalize this technology and really master the art of AI prompting with clarity, confidence, and, real purpose.
So here's our quick roadmap for today's explainer. First, we'll be demystifying the GPT acronym. Then, we'll look at the word prediction engine. After that, we'll talk about the super fast assistant. Fourth, we'll cover its capabilities and limitations. And finally, we'll wrap up with why your prompts actually matter. Let's get right into it.
Starting with Part 1, demystifying the GPT acronym. Let's break down those three extremely famous letters. First up is G for generative. This simply means it has the ability to create or generate text for you. Now, it's not just pulling up a pre-written article from some giant database like a standard Google search does. No, it is actively creating brand new combinations of words right on the fly. So whether you need it to write an essay, maybe summarize a massive meeting transcript, or, even write a poem about your dog, it generates that text from scratch every single time. Next is the P, which stands for pre-trained, and this highlights a massive, absolutely crucial point. It has already studied billions of pages from the internet before you even ask it a single question. It was trained on this unimaginably massive amount of text data. We're talking books, websites, articles, even how people naturally chat in public forums. Basically, it read the internet so you don't have to, and it uses all of that background knowledge to form its understanding of human language.
And finally, T for transformer. Now, don't worry, it's not a giant robot in disguise. Transformer is literally just the technical name for the model structure. You can kind of think of it as its brain design. It's a specific architecture developed by researchers that makes the AI incredibly good at understanding the context of our language, recognizing patterns, and then responding in a way that sounds totally natural and conversational. So, generative, pre-trained, transformer. That's the whole shebang.
Moving on to Part 2, the word prediction engine. Let's look a bit closer under the hood here.
Now, if you take nothing else away, the crucial point is this. ChatGPT is essentially a language model that just predicts the next best word based on patterns. It does not think. It is not alive. It doesn't actually know facts the way you or I do. It's really just a wildly fast reader and writer. When you ask it a question, it relies on all that pre-training we just talked about to calculate statistical probabilities. It's basically asking itself, okay, based on literally everything I've ever read, what is the most likely next word in this specific sentence?
So here is the core process in action. Step 1, you type a prompt. Let's say you type, write a story about a cat who skateboards. Step 2, ChatGPT breaks it down. It looks at your words, figures out what you want, and relies on its training to find the patterns associated with cats, skateboarding, and storytelling. Then, Step 3, it rapidly predicts a response. It builds that reply word by word, incredibly fast, until it forms a complete, totally natural-sounding paragraph. It is, for all intents and purposes, the world's most advanced version of autocomplete on your smartphone.
Okay, let's jump to Section 3, the super fast assistant. Let's meet your new digital helper.
I want you to imagine for a second that you've just hired a brand new, highly capable assistant. Meet your super fast typing assistant. Picture them sitting at a desk, looking right at you, just so eager to help out. They really want to do a good job, but they desperately, and I mean desperately, need clear instructions from you to actually be useful. Because if you walk into the office and just yell, "Hey, tell me about business," well, your assistant's going to look at you completely blankly and probably hand you something incredibly generic and unhelpful. But let's look at the specific traits of this super fast assistant. They have read the equivalent of 1,000 libraries. They can type 200 words per second. They literally never, ever get tired. And they are just sitting there waiting for clear instructions. Now, if you give them vague instructions, all that immense knowledge is pretty much useless. They're just going to get confused. But if you give them a really specific role, like saying, "Hey, you are a small business consultant. Explain 3 steps to starting an online store in simple terms," suddenly,
Their ability to type 200 words a second after reading 1,000 libraries becomes your absolute greatest asset.
By the way, if this breakdown is helping you finally grasp how AI actually works and maybe making it feel a little less intimidating, please take a quick second to hit subscribe and like. It really helps us keep creating these plain English guides to empower you with new skills. All right, moving on to Section 4, Capabilities and Limitations. Let's make sure we set some very firm expectations here. So while it can brilliantly brainstorm ideas for you when you're feeling stuck, or maybe edit your messy drafts into beautifully polished text, it absolutely cannot feel emotions or guarantee facts. Remember what we said earlier? It's predicting the most likely next word. It's not doing a factual database lookup. And that right there is exactly why human judgment is always, always required.
And that brings us to Section 5, why your prompts matter. Because at the end of the day, you are the director here.
This is the ultimate takeaway I want you to remember from today's explainer. You give it clarity, it gives you power. When you finally stop expecting the AI to magically read your mind and you actually start guiding it with specific context, a clearly defined role, and a clear format, it unlocks just massive potential. You simply have to tell it exactly what you want.
It's simple, right? A good prompt equals better results. Your success with this tool depends entirely on your willingness to be a clear, structured director. If you put garbage, vague instructions in, you're going to get generic, unhelpful text out. But if you engineer your prompt by assigning a role, giving it a specific task, and setting some constraints, the results will absolutely blow you away. Prompting isn't magic, guys. It's literally just clear communication.
Now, if you want a simple framework that shows exactly how to structure your prompts so they don't break when you refine them, I've actually put together a short guide for you. You can download it via the link down below. And hey, if this way of thinking is useful to you, consider subscribing. I'm going to be building on these basic concepts in our next explainers. But right before you go, I want to leave you with a question, something to really chew on. What could you actually achieve in your daily life or your career if you stopped treating AI like a basic search engine and started directing it like your own personal super fast assistant? Really think about it. Thanks so much for learning with me today.